Legend of Dan Gable.
My gold medal, all America AU, none of them have gold medal except Mr. Kurt Angle and Aaron Sheik. Because
You suck, Ted DiBiase. You suck, Dusty Rhodes. You suck, Randy Savage. You suck, Billboard. You suck, Andre Giant. You suck, Fabulous Moolah. You suck, Jim Robbins. You suck, Skinny Bastard. You suck, Hulk Hogan. You suck,
his puppet, Jimmy Hart,
you suck,
son of a bitch. Break your back. Hot with a beer bottle.
fuck your ass.
You don't rock it. Break your back. You're the man.
Fuck your ass.
I'm the master. Break your...
Acknowledge me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Legend of Wrestling. My man here, Pej the Maniac, myself, Weapon X, and we are here to cover Crown Jewel. And after watching that pay-per-view, I feel like kicking somebody else in the Crown Jewels, if you know what I'm saying. Let me talk to you.
He's doing that right now with Triple H on that flight back. And where's Raw going to be? We don't know.
We really don't know.
We'll find out. But
I didn't do my homework. I am sorry.
No, it's okay. I threw that on you.
I lost a little bit of my Gavorka.
John Cena lost a lot of his Kaborka, and he lost his voice in the process. Man, all right. Shall we get into it? First of all, hit that subscribe button if you like how we approach the topic of pro wrestling. It's comedy, it's silliness, it's goofiness. We go back in history, we come back to present times. But for today, we are focused on Crown Jewel and only Crown Jewel. You're going to have to tune into the next episode if you want to hear our takes on what's currently happening in AEW and TNA.
Damn it, you had to mention TNA. I mean, that's like me mentioning NWA. But we're not talking about the legendary rap group. We're talking about where wrestlers' dreams go to die. But, really quickly, like the man said, like, comment, subscribe. Do all three of those things on the IG and on YouTube. Make sure that you don't miss another episode. We're going to have an X rolling soon attached to all these social medias as well. So stay tuned for that. But for now, just keep us in your IG and on your YouTube. And again, the three things: like, comment, subscribe.
And guess what else? We're going to be rolling in more of those sketch comedy style on our channel. We're going to have a lot of those being brought to you. A lot of it by the man, the real champion,
Aaron Sheik.
He's gonna come humble every single jabroni that I bring to him, and he's going to teach them the lesson of being a real Olympic champion, like
Hell yeah!
like Kurt Angle,
Like a Kurt Angle, like a Dan Gable, or and subscribe, or I break your back, make you to be humble.
Make you to be humble and have a good day, as he says.
Well, as we go ahead and get into Crown Jewel, again, make sure you do all those things so that you don't miss on all these other exclusive things that we plan on adding onto the channel.
Hell
With
yeah.
that said, let's get into Crown Jewel.
Crown Jewel, man. Okay, so before we start the card and go over match by match, what our thoughts were of the results, of how it went down, the finish, the false finish, all of that. I would be remiss if I did not discuss the two promos in particular heading into Crown Jewel on Friday Night SmackDown, the night before. And that was one between the Tribal Chief himself and L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
Incredible promo, I thought. Did you catch that before you caught Crown Jewel?
I'm going to be honest, I didn't manage to catch the SmackDown promo.
You did?
I did catch a portion of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a good line about the bloodline running down his face.
Oh, man, that was great. That was great. If only it culminated to become real, on the actual premium live event. So that was a little bit of a foreshadowing. I loved it. I thought it was great. The secret goat sauce of all of this is Paul Heyman's facial features in the background as Roman is just kissing his own ass and considering himself the face of the WWE. the way Paul Heyman admires this man, like with his facial expressions, I think is chef's kiss. And I think Roman Reigns would not be where he's at without the Advocate. So
there should be a whole episode dedicated to Paul Heyman, but I'll keep the thoughts short for this episode.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman is very underrated when it comes to his craft. The man is a genius when it comes to facial expressions, body language, promos, energy, and knowing exactly when and how to say things. His timing is impeccable.
Yeah.
Even off camera, like or in shoot interviews, he does a great thing. He had a great. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention his reply when he was being heckled about Chris Benoit.
Oh yeah.
But
yep.
you know, that's like I said, the man deserves a episode for himself for another day.
Let's do this. Do you want Wep and the Maniac to dedicate a full episode to the artist known as Paul Heyman? You let us know in the comments of this episode, and I will throw that actually as an extra in a poll question when you subscribe to this podcast on all other platforms, as it is now available on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, on Google Play, on Amazon, on your radio station,
on anything that you could think of. There's a great segue, though. Great way to get the fans involved.
That's right. Get involved, or else Sheik will find you.
I will make you humble.
There you go. So let's get into it. So that was one of the promos I loved. The other one was John Cena with a quarter of a voice left, and Solo Sikoa having a pretty decent. I thought Solo did pretty well on that one. I don't know if you caught that one.
I didn't catch that one.
Okay, so short and sweet. Paul Heyman's out there again with Solo. Solo comes out. Solo stops Paul Heyman from pandering to the crowd, and he says, "What are we wasting our time for? We're not here to talk to them. We're here to talk to John Cena. So John Cena, bring your ass out here face to face." To which Cena comes out, serious face Cena, which means he means business. He gets in the ring, and he doesn't do it the normal way where he slides in because he's not happy. He takes the stairs. He comes in, and to which Solo has the mic. There's only one mic between the two of them. And Solo says, "I've been advised by the tribal chief to give you this mic to say goodbye to the crowd because it's the last time you're going to be able to do it."
I did catch that part. Yes.
Yeah.
I did catch that part.
So then he gives him the mic. Cena says, "I only need 90 seconds," and with with like a quarter of a voice. I don't know what happened to his voice. That's another.
That had to do with the promo that led up to this, which, again, I'll let you finish, but I'm going to say I wasn't a very big fan of this angle going into the match. But
Yeah. So Cena then said, "I'm not going to be going." He said, "I will not be saying goodbye to them. I'm going to be saying goodbye from them to you guys, to basically the bloodline." So. I thought that was short and sweet. They didn't let it linger on any further. He dropped the mic and he said, "Yeah, that was about 90 seconds," and he left. Now, keep all that in mind as we head into Crown Jewel. We're gonna go over it match by match.
I am gonna mention one thing going into that. Well, actually, two things. Number one, I don't like the angle that they've taken leading up into that match about John Cena and his voice and the Samoan Spike. And I'll tell you why. This is another example of WWE trying to forget the history that they so conveniently want to sweep under the rug when they want us to buy into an angle. Do you recall that John Cena had many, many, many matches with a man named Umaga?
Yeah, of course.
That used the same exact move.
I mean, that's why Solo does it. Yeah.
Did he ever use it? I mean, did he ever lose his voice after getting hit with so many of those?
Yeah. You're becoming Taz right in front of my eyes because this is how Taz breaks
Well,
down.
we're both from Brooklyn, you know?
Yeah,
Taz is the man.
Yeah, I know. He's the man.
The human suplex machine.
I feel like
don't diss Taz.
Yeah.
And shout out to Hook as well.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hook is he's doing big things. Again, we're not going into AEW just yet. But anyway, so yeah, I agree with you. The realism of it, I get it. I get it because it's like in one case it's one thing, in the other case it's another.
It's just not necessary. There's so many other ways that you could amp this match, but they took the cheap way out.
Whose call was that?
I think that's more creative.
Yeah, but I'm saying which one? Is it a specific person?
I don't think it's a specific person.
Because Vince is no longer in charge.
I think it was the creative team, and I don't necessarily think it's all trips, but I thought that, because the build up to that match hasn't been very long to begin with.
No.
So I thought it was the easiest way for them to write themselves out of it. That being said, before we get into Crown Jewel, sticking to the subject as well, there is one other promo that you showed me that we did not mention.
Which one?
Which was Logan Paul
Yeah.
and Rey Mysterio.
Oh, the presser.
Yeah.
Yeah, the press conference. Yes. So the press conference on Friday night here, which in LA, which was the morning, or sorry, it would have been, I guess they did their presser before SmackDown. And, Logan called him little man, and then he put his hand on Ray's head, and then Ray slapped him. Slapped him, yeah.
Literally laid the smackdown on him.
Yeah. I thought that was cool, but I think it was a little bit forced, if you ask me. I feel like they're trying too hard to emulate a UFC style. And also, you got to understand why they're doing this. This all started happening after the fact AEW created that ambiance with their post pay-per-view press conferences and the way they broke down their fights on their end.
Absolutely. I'm on the same page as you, but I will say I don't think the promo itself felt forced.
Yeah.
I felt the segment idea was forced. Like they didn't need to use the press conference environment.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that their actual promos to each other were forced. I think they both did fine in terms of what they were saying to each other on the mic. It's just the whole idea of using the press conference as the backdrop for that was kind of, to imply UFC and all the things that they've been doing with their press conferences.
Yeah. Well, now they're owned by the same company, so that's probably a big part of it.
By one more thing before we get into this, and I know that you're going to have a thought on this. Crown Jewel, by the way, it's rumored that it brought in a payday of $50 million for the show. That's the equivalent to 3 WrestleManias.
You're kidding. All right. That is crazy. I did not know this.
I've been hearing this out there. Like, I'm still trying to verify the sources.
Yeah.
But there have been, some reports. I still have to check how valid they are. But it has been floated out there that Crown Jewel brought in a payday of $50 million.
Let's see. What are the results? Who won? We already know all this. It's only the day after.
I don't want to get into the political aspect of it because I'm sure some people have a problem with Crown Jewel's relationship with WWE given how their government operates.
Right.
I'm going to leave that out, but I just thought that was an interesting fact.
Yeah.
Considering that you often refer to it as the WrestleMania of the Middle East.
I do.
Well, it just...
I do.
If the rumors are true about the payout, then they just grossed 3 times as much as a WrestleMania.
Like you said, the political side of it aside, this is not that kind of forum to get into that. Maybe we should talk about that on the PBS podcast.
Now you gotta call it the PBS podcast. It's TBA.
I know.
Only a she calls it that.
Yeah.
Only she can call PBS podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I just thought that was an interesting fact to just encapsulate before we actually go into the card.
Yeah.
How big this show really was.
So with that said, assuming that's true, I only have one hope, and the hope is that the WWE doesn't get too thirsty to want to then create an entire line of pay-per-views or premium live events strictly in Saudi Arabia. Because nothing against Saudi Arabia, they have amazing fans, but here's what I think will happen. If they do that, they're not going to emulate these numbers every premium live event. The only reason they're getting that much is strictly because of the fact that they show up there once a year.
Well, I think it's twice a year.
Is it? No, the other one is in Australia. You're talking about...
no, originally they were all in Saudi Arabia.
I know, but
they had one in Australia.
They had, yeah.
But that's the original... not the original. That's the new plan.
Yeah.
They have a contract obligation that they have to adhere to with Saudi Arabia. But once that starts going down, as you said, they did one in Australia. So now the goal, especially after the acquisition, is to take it worldwide. So
Right.
you'll be seeing possibly ones in Tokyo, possible ones. Well, they already do shows in the UK, but maybe something as big as AEW's Wembley. Their plan is to go global, and I'm interested to see where it takes it.
Did Wembley pull out kind of money for AEW All In?
I don't know what kind of money AEW pulled in for All In. That's an interesting question, but I would definitely find out. By the way, when I say $50 million, it's because they got a payout. That doesn't equate to ticket sales.
Sure.
Ticket sales, I'm sure, were a lot less than that in terms of... They still made a lot of money, but I'm sure that ticket sales were less than $50 million. So I don't know if I could compare that to Wembley, but it's still a big payout.
Oh, my God.
And it was a big atmosphere going into Crown Jewel. And without further ado, let's get into it now. First match.
Now, you may... I don't know if you watched the kickoff show to Crown Jewel. There was a match on there. And it was to the tune of Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough. The Crown Jewel kicked it off in their kickoff show. Now, before we talk about that match, Crown Jewel as an entirety, what grade do you give it for this year?
Crown Jewel.
Is it an A? Is it a B? A C? Or a jabroni?
Maybe a B minus.
B minus. Okay. So let's go over the card, and then at the end you can
elaborate.
Yeah. So Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough. Zayn defeats McDonough via pinfall. Did you catch that match?
I did, but I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't too excited about the match. I'm not a real big fan of what JD McDonough does so far. Maybe it's the blandness of his character to me.
Right.
Maybe it's because I thought Sami Zayn was deserving of a bigger place in that card.
Especially in Saudi Arabia.
Yes. Yeah. Especially in Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. That said, it was a solid match. I mean, I didn't really take away anything from it. There wasn't anything exciting that stood out to me per se.
Although that wasn't their last appearance on this pay-per-view.
No, but we'll get to that later.
We'll get to that later. So
but yes, Sami Zayn defeated JD McDonough in a probably a forgettable match.
Right, McDonough. So. And McDonough had a deep red bruise on his torso, so that was part of the.
All he does is get tossed around every time we see him. So I mean,
yeah. And then the actual event kicked off. So
yeah, dummy.
Yeah. So if you guys saw our last episode, which was a couple weeks ago at this point, we mentioned this match and we had our predictions. Let's see if it became true. I believe you mentioned that Seth would retain.
Yes, I did.
Against...
I didn't make any further predictions than that. I just said Seth would retain.
Seth versus Drew McIntyre. Seth obviously won this match. He did retain. I think we both predicted this. I did also mention that there will be a false cash attempt. I did mention that in the last episode. Run it back. Replay. I did mention...
I'm not arguing with you.
I did mention that Damian Priest will have a unsuccessful, not actual cash-in, but even an attempt. I didn't know how it was going to go down, but it went down. So,
we found out how it went down. You just mentioned it. Another appearance by Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn, he promised in his amazing promo last Monday that he was going to do whatever he does in his power to, not power, but whatever he has inside to stop the Judgment Day from trying to get all the belts or titles and trying to get all the power. And I think that was one of his greatest promos of all time for Sami Zayn, and I can argue it stands up there with the greatest promos to stand the test of time.
It was a good swerve. I'm not going to say the swerve was what disappointed me. Swerve was actually pretty good. What disappoints me is the case in general, because we're still in this era where we're supposed to believe that if the contract's not in the briefcase, that they can't cash it in. No one actually signs the contract when they cash it in. You know that? No one even opens it. They just go ding, 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 and they put it out.
But there. Is it signed already? And that's the addendum, is that it's always signed, ready to go.
But that's the thing. If you've signed it already, then you've already agreed. It should already be etched in stone. So why do you need the briefcase?
So what? Yeah. So I get it. It's gimmicky.
But that being said, I mean, if we're gonna play by those rules, at least WWE's been consistent
Yes,
about it.
yes.
They haven't been wish-washy about it. And if we go by those rules, the swerve was a pretty good one.
Yes.
Yes.
It was a good swerve.
Sami Zayn got a great pop, by the way.
Of course he did. He went into the crowd, which helped the pop with the briefcase, and he ran away and Damian Priest was not able to cash in. This was after the match, so Seth had already beaten Drew, and he did the curb stomp as
Yes,
the
he did.
finisher. I think the match got so now let's grade the matches. I thought the match itself, with all the swerves and the interference attempts and all that, I honestly thought it was probably a B plus.
The match was pretty solid in my opinion. Both people got their, both wrestlers, and when in regards to Drew and with Seth, even though I'm not a big fan of Seth's over the top character lately,
And
his
to be clear,
in-ring work-
we're not a fan of his character. We're a fan of Seth himself as a professional wrestler. I think the character is goofy and it's tailored to just elicit the chants. That
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was about to say, his in-ring work was great. And I like the fact that for this particular match, he finished it with a curb stomp. You know, sometimes when he finishes it with the pedigree, I don't know if that has that oomph to the end of the match, that exclamation point.
yeah.
That curb stomp just it's the perfect exclamation point, the perfect way to end the match for Seth. And it's a move that he does probably better than anybody I could actually think of in pro wrestling in general right now as we speak.
curb stomp. Who else does the curb stomp?
I know that in AEW, Britt Baker uses a version of it, but she doesn't do the high jumping.
Doesn't
one.
she hold the arm?
Kind of.
Yeah.
She does a running one too,
Yeah.
but not as often. And it's not her primary finishing maneuver. That's the lockjaw. But that being said, she's the only one I can think of that actually uses it as a finisher. But Seth's curb stomp it's done to perfection. I think that's the way that he should end most matches, unless he's up against an opponent where that's not necessarily a viable finisher or it's not powerful enough. That said, the grade on that, I would give it a solid B.
Yeah.
I think, it had its spots. It was good. Both wrestlers gave it their all. The swerve was pretty good. I just don't think that obviously it was a top caliber match, and it probably wasn't the best match of the night for me. So it's hard for me to give it anything higher than a solid B.
We'll also have another full episode dedicated to Britt Baker, because I know you would love that.
Britt, if you are watching this show, you can clearly see my facial expression. I know this is professional, and I know you've got your bad, but I would be very happy to have you on this show as a guest.
There you go.
And
The invite's out.
yeah, I'm
And
putting it
bring
out there
Adam
in the
Cole
universe.
too.
Bring Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah.
While you're at it, tell him to bring MJF because he's better than everybody, and we know it.
All right. So you gave it the grade was?
Yeah, solid B.
Solid B. All right. Solid B. All right. So we both agree on that it was a good match. My only gripe about the build up to this was they went back to about 3 years ago, pandemic Drew McIntyre, and they tried to tie in his title reign then that nobody saw because of the Thunderdome. And him having to wrestle at WrestleMania versus Brock to win the title, which was a great run. But I feel like they made him look a little bit petty. And that's not who his character is. He's never one to complain about his misfortunes or shortcomings.
They poked fun at it, though. To be fair, though, even though I didn't like that angle just like you, they did poke fun at it. They knew how ridiculous that angle was because Seth also said, I hear you whining.
Yeah.
And, he basically said tough shit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this is a ridiculous way if you're going to approach, like, this match
That's
and
right.
this angle.
That's
they
right.
kind of even knew that it was over the top, so towards the end of it, they were poking fun at the WWE. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So anyway, aside from that great wrestling match, if we were just
Absolutely.
looking at it as a match.
Yeah.
All right, we move on. There was some interferences, like we said. Even Dominic came in, and then Jay joined.
Quickly, where do you think that Drew is going to go from here? Because he looked pretty disappointed.
Yeah.
And mommy passed by him and
Yes.
backstage. So where do you think this is going
Is
to go?
this
Real quick.
Is this an offer? Is this a precursor to Judgment Day, extending the invite to the Scottish Warrior to join Judgment Day? That could be. Now we got to remember, they also already have the neighboring country, an Irishman, in Judgment Day. So
And they have another Irishman who tags along like a horny chihuahua and JD McDonough. But JD McDonough can be disposed of. I'll allow Drew McIntyre to come in if they just kick the chihuahua to the curb. But
I'm all for a heel turn for Drew McIntyre. If that's what they're hinting at, I'm all for it.
he needs one. He needs one.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's with Judgment Day. And, you know.
If Judgment Day becomes NWO 2000, I'm done. Like I don't want like 100 people.
Well, Bloodline almost got there. If it wasn't for Sami Zayn, it would have. But he was just too entertaining.
Yeah. Well, Sami Zayn, I think, yeah. And it's funny how now he's trying to destroy Judgment Day, which he already did it with Bloodline. Sami Zayn.
The Sami Zayn virus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. I think a heel turn is coming, and that was a good tease that they did after the match.
Hit him with the next one. Let's
go on. Let's
this
go
was
on.
one that I had strong opinions of.
We both did, I believe. Yeah. So the Women's World Championship 5-way, Rhea Ripley retains against Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Raquel Rodriguez. I predicted that Zoe Stark was going to get a big shine in this match.
I predicted that that Shayna Baszler was going to get the big spots.
And she did. Shayna definitely had one moment. She had three submission holds.
Well, no, she had 3 moments that made her look really strong, even though she ate the pinfall. I'll name them. But even the pinfall made her look strong, and I'll name them. But I want you to go into Zoe Stark because you're the one who made that prediction first.
I did.
Go into it.
I did. She had a couple highlights. I don't know if they were enough to really put a spotlight on her.
But she did look good.
No, absolutely.
She had that one where she dove out the ring. That was a dope spot.
Yes. The dives and all that are great, but I think psychologically they could have done a little bit more for her. Maybe she was the one that would fight from the bottom more. That would have helped kind of garner some more sympathy for her character, but especially to get her out of the shadows of Trish. So I don't know. I think I'll give the match with that consideration. I'll give the match just a B. I'll just give it a B.
I actually am going to give the match a B+.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to go into this. First, I'm going to go into Shayna.
Okay, go.
Which I thought was amazing. And I predicted this would happen. And I'm going to go over the 3 spots.
All right.
Okay, first was the one that you mentioned, the triple submission. That was something else. We knew she was going to get.
It was creative for sure,
but it was creative, and the way it looked was great.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So.
Which, by the way, it was on Raquel, right? It was
on Raquel. It was on the 3 biggest competitors.
Yeah.
It was on Raquel. It was on
Nia
Jax, and it was on. Mommy herself.
Yeah.
And Zoe had to break that up.
Zoe broke it up, yes. Which was a good highlight for Zoe.
Yeah, it was another. It's a small wrinkle. It's a small detail, but it was a good one. And that the underdog went in there and broke it up.
Yes.
And then there was the second spot. I believe. I know this was a good one in particular as well.
Look, it even says it on the results. By the way, we're looking at we both have watched the event individually, but we're just looking at the card on the web. On our source is cbssports.com. But it says Baszler had.
Oh yeah, that's right. The suplex power bomb.
Yes,
because
that was huge.
She got she also had that spot because she was the one that executed.
Yes.
The double the double suplex power bomb, whatever you want to.
She came in at the end.
Move. Yeah. And then she brought them
the
down.
superplex. Yeah.
So that was the other big spot. And here's the third one. The third one wasn't necessarily a spot, but it still made her look strong because Shayna Baszler had already taken a hard move. And she was on the ground. When Rhea did that, and when Rhea did the Riptide from I think it was the second round.
Yeah.
She dropped. Was it Zoe? Yeah, I believe it was Zoe.
I think it was.
And she dropped her on top of Raquel.
Yes.
Who was on top of Baszler.
Right.
So she literally got
Yes.
hit by 3 people.
Yes. Yeah.
After kicking out of something already, and it took 3 women falling on top of Shayna Baszler to eat a pinfall.
Right.
So
it
even
protected
in defeat, it made her look very strong.
yeah.
And I said that needed to happen, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that they did that.
Yes, it was a great finish. My only my only question about that match wasn't even the match itself, but what was Mommy's hairdo? What was that about?
I don't know. I kind of like the getup. I don't know.
It's like what? Like it's you can't tell if it's like an homage to early Undertaker with the hair in the face, but it's like halfway covering her
Well,
eyes.
she did it with the Arabic music and
Yeah,
the Druids.
the entrance was. I thought okay. So when they did the entrance with the oud, which is the instrument that was being played, and then all the men that came out, what were they holding? They were holding like a. Each of them was like holding a. Is it a candle?
I think it was a candle.
So yeah, they were holding a candle. I don't know what. I didn't understand the purpose of it in relation to it being Rhea Ripley. I didn't expect it to be her entering, but even though I think she was the final one.
I think she was the final
Yeah,
one.
so it was-
But
yeah.
still, it didn't look like an entrance from her. I get what you're saying. I don't mind it because it was the Saudi Arabia show,
Yeah.
and given the fact that they're very limited on how they get to create themselves, how creative they get to be with their outfits and stand out.
Mm-hmm.
For that event, I'm not going to put that against Rhea Ripley. I'm going to give her a point for that simply because she's already limited as what she could do, as well as the other ladies. Some of the ladies' costumes were better than others. Nia Jax basically comes out whatever she always wears because she can't wear anything else.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be insulting on the show. I appreciate people of all shapes and sizes, but again, certain people don't look flattering in certain things.
Yeah.
Especially when you're wrestling and body parts are moving around. I did like the way that Shayna came out. I like the way that Zoe came out. Naya's Naya. Rhea, I know you and I are kind of divided on. Raquel kind of looked like a Hello Kitty character. She was the one that didn't look like she came out there to fight. And with pigtails, especially since it doesn't match her character, I'm like, what is this?
I think Raquel is a force. She's an amazing athlete.
That costume did not make her look like a force.
Okay, so that's fair. But what I was gonna say is I think on
I
a
should say the ring gear.
ring gear, yeah. I think it's in the eyes of all the wrestlers. Is you see who they are behind it, right? And I don't think Raquel Rodriguez is like a menace, right?
I don't think she knows who she is yet.
Yeah, that's part of it. I think
she's a happy person.
She's a sweet,
but she tries to look like a tough guy.
Yeah, she's a very sweet person, but she's one of the bigger women on the roster as far as size. So I feel like that has kind of, as of right now anyway, put her in the corner creatively.
That's why I feel like the ring gear would have helped a little bit, because sometimes when
maybe that was her pushbacks. Maybe she wants to show that side of her.
maybe look, I don't know what's going on in her head, but yeah. Aside from that, the match, I give it a B+, and I'll give it a B+ because I thought it was better than I initially expected it to be.
Yeah.
I thought the 2 people that deserved to get a highlight did, and the one thing that I did like about the match, Nia didn't get too much action.
Yeah.
She was in there as a presence and a force.
That was by design.
I know that was by design, and I give WWE credit for that, because we don't need any more injuries, legitimate ones, caused in any of these matches, especially since all 4 of the other ladies are up on the rise right now.
I'll be honest.
Really a shame if they stopped their push due to an injury.
I'll be honest. I know Nia is part of the Samoan dynasty and all, but I don't think she loves wrestling. I don't think she loves it. She's fit for wrestling. She's made for wrestling, like physique wise. I don't think she loves it like all her cousins do. I don't know. I'm putting that out there, and it might be an unpopular opinion, but
You're entitled to.
I'm entitled. I just don't. I don't believe her when she's in there.
So you give it a B. I give it a B plus.
Yes.
And
that's
yeah.
and that's all I
the
got.
bottom line because Legend of Wrestling said so.
Yeah. All right. Next match. The match was John Cena versus Solo Sikoa. He did not see that result coming. But I also did see a storyline being developed in this match.
We talked about this. I don't know if it was on an episode or in one of our individual chats off air.
Yeah.
But we talked about the possibility of Cena losing and them developing a storyline similar to the one he had when he lost the first time to The Rock at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Coming up again, being from down in the dumps, rock bottom,
Yeah.
no pun intended,
Yeah.
and then coming back up in the ranks to have his big moment. I think that they're probably going to try and build up to that moment till the moment that he gets closer and closer to retirement.
Which, by the way, speaking of The Rock, I'll bring this up later, but in that Roman Reigns LA Knight promo on the SmackDown before this pay-per-view, I'm just going to call it pay-per-view, okay? Premium live event doesn't roll off the tongue. So I'm just going to say pay-per-view because my whole life I've been calling it that. PLE for the people who want to throw a flag.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree with that. That could be a thing. I think the Cena Rock one that happened where he lost to The Rock, and his demise. Also, Michaels Undertaker won at WrestleMania 25, which was followed by 26, where Michaels put his whole career on the line. Similar vibes, I would say. Let's see where this goes. But obviously, what you guys can guess by now if you haven't seen it, Solo took the win with not one, not two, not three
Multiple Samoan
spikes to his throat, to Cena's throat. And yeah, there you go. Yeah. It was I don't know. Match-wise, I thought it was predictable. I don't think there was any big swerves or unexpected moments. Heyman was ringside. Actually, no. Was he? No, I can't remember.
He was ringside.
He was ringside. Okay.
But you know what? Even Heyman at ringside couldn't have saved this one to me.
What grade? What's the grade?
He didn't really do much at ringside, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The only thing he did was get a little bit excited when Cena almost pulled off the 5 moves of doom.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
But that was about it. I mean, he didn't even really need to get involved.
Yeah.
Solo went at it solo.
They were pushing Solo.
Unintended.
This was a match for Solo to get the shine.
And they needed it because Solo is still on the rise.
Yeah.
And there is a story to be told with Cena losing. From that aspect of it and the result, I'm happy with the result.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy with the build up to this match for reasons I stated earlier.
Yeah.
And the time constraints. I also wasn't happy about how it seemed like in this match that each person was going through the motions. I mean, Cena should have felt more like this atmosphere where there was a lot more at stake for Cena, and I didn't feel that watching the match when they were telling the story. I'm really just gonna give this one a C.
Cena. Okay.
I see for C Nation. You can't see me.
You can't see a win, Cena.
That was dumb too because they're talking about the guy hasn't had a solo win since
televised win.
Solo win.
I know.
A solo win since
Do you think that was an accident?
televised too since 2018. No, it's the same way that they did with the Undertaker streak. He never set out to have a streak. They just got to a point where they realized, this guy hasn't lost, so let's just keep playing it up. Except in Cena's case, when you haven't been on TV or been doing even house shows for that matter for the past 5 years, like how many did he really have? It's
right.
If you've had 3 matches and you've lost 3 matches in 5 years, in terms of the career of a professional wrestler, does that really hurt your legacy?
Yeah, they pushed the number of days way more than the actual number of matches.
Yeah, and
So
that was really dumb.
it's
And then the whole
2,000
Samoan
days.
Spike thing, losing your voice was dumb.
But the
So,
voice part was a real thing, and I think they just shoved that into the storyline.
maybe that's so. Maybe he had a condition, but it still feels
Do
dumb.
you think did you think that he was faking it? I think he really lost his voice.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
But either way, I just felt real or fake.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be something that was highlighted in the match. It was a dumb thing.
Mm-hmm.
The build up to this match was not very good.
Yeah.
And
So, well, let's see where it
match
goes.
was the match was just like subpar.
Is
So
this
it's
going
like,
into a program though?
It's C. It definitely will for Cena. I don't
With-
know
with
where.
Solo?
I don't know if it's with Solo yet.
Maybe the program is made to make Solo become the threat to Roman Reigns. That's we've talked about this as well.
Well, it's to make Solo become a threat. Period. Roman Reigns is a possibility, yes, but either way, the basic approach is just to make him
Yeah.
look like a threat. He needed that win against a credible Hall of Famer.
Yes.
And it accomplished what it set out to do. I just wish the match was executed better. It's a solid C for me.
I gave it a B minus, but what's funny to say is that as we've been giving you guys our grades on these matches, CBS Sports also has their own grades on these. So far, match for match, we've been kind of on the same page with just by happenstance with CBS. We gave a B to the Seth
More or less.
McIntyre match.
You know,
right?
we're minus the plus or minus
Yeah,
here or there.
I gave a solid B for the Rhea match.
And I gave a B plus. So
Yeah.
it's around the same area.
But then-
they completely disagree with this match.
Yeah, I gave it a B for Cena Solo. You said C. They've given it an A. So that to me is interesting. I don't know who their panel of judges are to give this grade, but
They were smoking some of that RVD shit. That's what they were doing.
they were still watching ECW champion RVD, which was 24 hours.
Rob
Yeah.
Van Dam. Got to get him on the show, by the way.
That's right. That's
Got to
right.
get him on the show.
Rob Van Dam and all your wives, bring them on.
And all your joints and all your blunts and all your other smoking paraphernalia. Come on, one. Come on down. We'll invite you over on 420 and we'll get lit.
You know who else I want to, since we're talking about already? Sabu. I would love to have Sabu on here. This would be, and I know he's had some major surgeries that he needed.
Trust me, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to have going on with the show. We're only on episode 3, but we've already got a lot of interest from a lot of people. There are big things planned, including a change of set
Yes.
in the near future.
Yes, stay
But
tuned. Stay tuned for that.
Until then, we still got a lot of exciting things coming up. So
Absolutely. All right.
more reason for you to like, comment, and subscribe
Do it. Or
Now.
version 2.0 will come and find you.
now. Okay,
All right.
Next match. I know you had
U.S.
opinions on
Championship match. United States Championship
Woo.
defended in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Makes a lot of sense. Rey Mysterio
By
versus
the way,
Logan.
shout out to Michael Cole for having some of the most brilliant commentary during this event. This man botched more of his words in the whole 4-hour.
Yeah, he couldn't say the word Arabic.
He couldn't. That was brilliant. He couldn't say the word Arabic.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not perfect, but that's not my job. I don't get paid the $1 million that he does to come on commentary and sound perfect. And I know commentators aren't supposed to sound perfect. They stumble. I stumble. I'm not, people for that. But some of the stuff that Michael Cole was stumbling on this particular night, and I'm only picking on him from tonight because, there are times when Michael Cole does a very solid job.
Yeah, for sure.
But whatever he was doing in Saudi Arabia, I don't know if secretly they had something to his head, or I have no idea. Don't want to put anything out there.
He might have snorted.
He sounded very, very nervous.
Yeah.
And he was stumbling on some really, really easy words. It took him a full minute to get the word Arabic out of his mouth.
Yeah. By the way, what would Sheik say to the Michael?
Here's a fuck fucking jabroni. You cannot say Arabic. I'm a Shia Muslim. Suplex you, put you in a camel clutch, break your back, and then I'll make you to be humble. All country way.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Sends
that
you
was
back to Syracuse. Yeah.
Match now.
Match
Rey Mysterio,
now.
Logan
United
Paul.
States Championship match. I got to say, first of all, Logan Paul pulling his inner MJF with the knuckle, or we can say Steven Regal, William Regal. Also, he had that the steel knuckles.
Did I not predict the outside interference?
Oh yeah, with one of his goons. Yeah. I don't even know who that guy was.
Well, even beyond the goons, there was the tease. Guess who left the knuckles in the ring? Oh, so nonchalantly and easily.
Yes.
Santos Escobar.
I know that. So they're clearly introducing that as an angle to come. So let's talk about it. I give this match this probably be one of the matches I'll give an A to out of this pay-per-view. And the reason is this: Logan Paul is quickly and effectively changing the minds of a lot of old school wrestling fans who did not like him for being a YouTube star that just came and kind of bombarded the WWE. But he is earning my respect to a degree I didn't even think was possible. He's putting on matches that are comparable to some of the greater wrestlers in WWE. And I'm not using that. That's not an understatement. I mean what I say. Okay. I think Logan.
You gave this an A.
I give it an A. One, because first of all, Logan is not giving you the same 5 moves of doom. He's giving you different parts of his game every match he's had. Like his match with Roman Reigns from last year. Okay, just look at the last year. From Reigns at Saudi Arabia on Last Crown Jewel. That match was insane, and he did it on one leg, right? Because he tore his ACL. He comes back from that injury to then have a Seth Rollins program, amazing match, and that's when he started to introduce the fist, right? And then he also did the cowboy. What's that move that he does with the off the ropes, with the flip?
Buckshot lariat.
Buckshot lariat. Yeah. He introduced that against Seth Rollins, and then fast forward the Ricochet match, high flying match, and then not even just the technical part, the psychology. He's showing more and more of that, and how poised he is, and how the unique lanes he chooses verbally during the match to stick it in. You know, yeah, but you know what I'm saying. And anyway, I'm very happy that, you know, a YouTube star, also a boxer, and now a professional wrestler. I will call him a professional wrestler. He's earned that. I think it's similar to how Shane McMahon used to come back every 5 months, 6 months, and then would have a barn burner. But I say this: Shane McMahon was never didn't have the technical prowess that Logan Paul is showing. Shane McMahon was a high flyer. He would kill himself.
I know where you could get some high flour.
There we go. That's a whole other.
Logan Paul probably has some. To be honest with you.
Well, I'm giving him his flowers right now, so he earned it. And of
That's
course,
your invitation, RVD. Come on in.
yeah, yes, it was a screw job finish with the steel knuckles. That the only, and I'm being very nitpicky here. Strategically placed, right? Logan Paul's friend had the knuckles, slides it to him, then he loses it outside the ring, and then the friend is sneaking to try to get the knuckles, and that's where Escobar comes in, puts his foot on the knuckle, grabs it, and then starts to walk towards this friend. The friend runs away, and he slides the knuckles into the ring. Fine, I'm cool with that. It's the way Logan notices it after being thrown on the ropes, the prerequisite to the 619, and he notices it, grabs it, still takes the 619, And then as Rey Mysterio turns around, he's ready to knock him out with the steel knuckles. There was no selling of the 619 is what my only gripe about the finish. Outside of that, great match.
I agree pretty much with your assessment of what happened in the match. That's why I can't give it an A.
Because of that ending.
Not just because of the ending. That is one reason. I have another as well that I'll just mention. I'll say this. I agree with everything you've said about Logan Paul. I agree he is phenomenal in the ring. And he's been vastly improving his skills since his first match with Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
He does a good job at selling at most points. He's good with promos.
Not his first match. His match a year ago. But yeah.
Well, that was it was his first big match.
His first title match.
He didn't have one at a pay-per-view before that, did he?
Oh, he was in the Rumble. He was in the...
that Rumble is not really a one-on-one match.
Right. But I thought he did have some...
A lot of people show up in that Rumble that came... around.
Miz? He had the fight with Miz? That was during the year, though, wasn't it?
That was a tag match. Was it not?
No, but he turned on him.
Yeah, he turned on him, but I don't think they had a one-on-one match.
They did. I'm pretty sure. I'll look it up.
I don't think that happened until after.
Tomatoes, potatoes. Go ahead.
That's neither here or there. We're focused on this match. This match right here, regardless, what I say still stands about his skills, his mic work. It's vastly improving. I don't like the idea of him having the title, but I know that in a way, business-wise, I've also said it's the right move. It's just a personal thing of mine because I don't like the fact that unless he's going to commit to wrestling full time, I don't like the fact that he's going to pull the Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns card. That's the only critique.
Yeah.
If he's going to do this for real and be here to defend his title, then yeah, I'm all for it. But there were two things that happened in that match that prevented me from giving this match an A.
Okay.
Because it really, really was a great match.
Yeah.
Number one was what you just mentioned, the no soul with the 619 and the way that Santos Escobar placed the knuckles in the ring. It
was slimy.
He didn't sell it well.
Yeah,
and that's not a fault of Rey Mysterio or Logan. He didn't sell it.
It had to be placed exactly where it was. That's why he did it.
He looked. It's almost like he's like, oh, I have to put it here.
Yeah.
Instead of just like
it was
slide.
It was forced.
And making it look like it might have been an accident.
Yeah.
It made it look like it was really on purpose.
Exactly. Oh, maybe that was part of the deal.
But
I'm saying maybe that's part of the angle.
But I don't know. It still didn't sell well to me.
Yeah.
But that's not the major thing. One was the 619 no sell, or it was a poorly sell. He did try to sell it a little because he did fall, but I believe, but like he didn't. He got right back up, like without being dazed. He like knew exactly where the knucks were.
He went out of camera frame, and
the other one was where he catches him. You remember he had to adjust.
Yes,
for a second.
yes.
It was supposed to be a tombstone pile driver, but there was a slip.
Yeah.
I do give Logan credit.
He saved him
for saving him.
Yeah.
So that was good in ring work.
That actually made me give it an A.
It probably had something to do with Rey Mysterio communicating with him as well.
Yeah.
But because of the way that the move was botched, the two things working against it prevented me from really giving it A. I still give it a solid B+ though. It's up there.
I think what you
and that's me being critical.
What you deem the reason to give it a B+, which was the botched tombstone. That's why I pushed it up to an A, because Logan not only is able to carry his end, now he's able to protect his opponents.
No, I understand that, and I do feel that that's very important. But when you're a spectator watching the match, they're not viewing it that way. I'm viewing it from a spectator's perspective.
Yeah.
If you're viewing it from a wrestler's perspective and their ability to take care of the wrestler, then you're pushing that towards like A+ material.
Okay.
Because that was, if you're going to view it from that perspective, Logan Paul has personally probably deserved an A+ in that match for his performance ability. But the match, as looking at it from a viewer's perspective, did it go the way it was planned? Did it go seamlessly? That's why I have to give it the B+.
Here's my favorite part. One of my favorite parts of this match, and it was after the match. It was after the match. Logan has the U.S. title around his waist. He's celebrating. He goes over to Rey Mysterio in the corner as Rey is contemplating what just happened, and Rey and Logan is actually now paying respects to Rey. So it's almost like a work shoot feel. Logan is shaking his hands like, "You're my hero. Thank you for this match. You were amazing." To which Rey says, "You know what you did. You know what you did." Obviously, the steel knuckles. And then Logan says, "I don't know what you're talking about. It was a fair and square match. Great match." And he walks off. I thought that, I don't know if that was written in to happen, or if the cameras just happened to pick it up on their mics. I love that. I thought that was great. I thought it gave it a realism that otherwise didn't,
That could be taken both ways.
Yeah.
Some people would say that it might be off because they should have played it. But if one guy is on the story tip, the kayfabe tip, and the other guy is on the realism tip, then there might be friction there. But again, I don't think it took away
caused
from
interest.
anything.
It created interest.
I'm just being devil's advocate and putting out both sides of how it could be interpreted. I don't look at it one way or another. It didn't affect my opinion on the match.
So I gave it an A. You gave it a B plus. CBS gives it a solid B, right down the middle. Now my question is, U.S. title is the other organizations that Paul is involved in. Are they going to allow him to bring that title onto those organizations, like his boxing, the boxing federation, or his podcast, or
I think they will. I think they will because it's good money for them. As long as he's not taking it to other organizations to hold on to it.
To prioritize.
Yeah, like it'd be different if his contract was up.
Yeah.
If he's under contract with WWE, anywhere where he carries the belt is good promotion because it brings people from outside forms of media or television shows. Yeah. They look at the belt and it brings attention to the brand. So I don't see that being a problem.
I don't think WWE would ever allow a wrestler to allow a contract to expire while they're champion, because they learned from the Bret Hart fiasco and the Alundra Blaze. Like, they're not going to do that again.
They teased it with CM Punk, but
he signed it the day of. He signed his contract the day of.
Well, he technically was not signed for a day. He technically went in without.
Like, he went into Money in the Bank.
Let's put it this way: it was less than 24 hours.
Right.
But they went in there with an agreement, a handshake agreement.
Yeah.
Trusting that CM Punk would
and he
sign
did,
the
and he followed through.
But that was a risk. It was a risk.
I don't think that's true. I think he actually put ink to paper before he had his match, because that's what in the podcast with Colt he talked about that. He said, I actually signed that evening when I arrived at the arena. So he I'm sure he had a handshake agreement the day before, but then he came in and did his thing, because he was actually contemplating leaving. So I think the result of that match was purely based on the fact that he signed his contract. Anyway.
True, but he could have just as well not shown up that day.
Yeah.
And carried that.
And that's probably what Vince would have assumed. But I think Punk even surprised
That's
them.
what I'm saying. It was still a risk.
Yeah.
Still very risk to wait till the final hour to get a signature. So
the final hour. All right. This next match, another one of my more matches that I found more interesting on this PLE. Io Sky versus Bianca Belair, and the return of none other than Kairi Sane. Now, quick backstory. Do you remember where Kairi was all this time?
In kayfabe or in real life?
In real life.
She was in Japan.
She went home.
Yeah.
She went home.
That's one of the reasons why she didn't renew a contract.
Yes. She wanted to be back home. I think it was a combination of being homesick, and also I think she wanted to have a family. I'm not sure about that last part. So don't quote me on it. But I think this was the surprise of the night. Nobody.
We probably should have waited to announce our opinions before revealing the Io Sky thing. But, it doesn't matter. Everyone's already watched
exactly,
it. So, I mean, I get you.
At the release of this episode, you guys all have...
Now, I will say this. I was expecting more out of this match. The match itself was
Io won, by the way.
Yeah, Io won.
Io retained. Yeah.
As I predicted.
You did predict that. I think we
you
both did too.
I
Yeah.
think you both.
I don't
we
think
both
Bianca
did.
needs the title right now. That's what I think. I think she's got enough of a following that she can get a push.
Well, I'm not. You know what? I do think that Bianca is a talented and very athletic
Yes.
pro wrestler, but I don't like the hair gimmick. I never have.
She's had that since NXT. That's been her thing.
I know, but I've never. I'm just saying, from my personal perspective, I've never liked the hair gimmick.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's like really cheap.
Mm.
It's like, because I mean, it gives you possibilities
Yeah.
for what somebody could do in a match using the hair, and then of course, you know, she brandishes it kind of like it's a weapon, but
It works. It works for her because she's the only one that could do that.
Let's be real. The way that it works, the way that she used it and the way it works are always worked. It's cheesy. It's never something that looks like it would naturally happen in a match.
I see what you mean. You mean she has to really go for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, you know.
I see.
You know, and if you're going to use the hair gimmick, I feel like opponents should do some more interesting things with the hair. I have yet to see an opponent do like something. I mean, I've seen them yank on it a little bit, but like, I mean, for example, that would be really cool, for example, if somebody had her up on the top rope and literally choked her with her own hair.
They've done that.
Like,
I've seen that. I think it was her program with. Didn't she have a program with Sasha when she was first on the rise before Sasha left?
but there's so many creative ways.
Because
to do
Sasha
it.
was like one of those that she really, I think she locked her in her move. Because Sasha's submission hold, I think she also wrapped her hair around it and then pulled it. So
but wrestlers do go through their matches a lot of times before they have a
For
match.
sure.
I'll give Sasha that. That was probably her idea. But there are a lot of things that you could do with that hair.
That's
like
true.
That long
That's
hair
true.
that have not been utilized, and
before they do
that would be realistic too.
before they do a hair for hair match, they should use up all the ideas.
Yeah.
Um,
That being said, I don't know. I'm just, that's just my opinion. I know people like it.
Yeah.
I'm not here to convince you, convert you. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
This match was okay to me. Honestly, like I'm gonna be in the minority. I'm gonna say that the match was probably a C+ to me.
Wow.
Not because of Io's ability. I love Io's ability, but I don't think that they built up the approach to it, like, in the ring, the psychology and everything of a big person versus little person type deal. Like,
because I don't think their size difference was that
Well,
noticeable.
no, the size difference with Io is she's tiny.
I know, but I'm saying comparably to like
In comparison
to like the Raquels versus the
Yes, but still, you're talking about next to all 5 of those wrestlers that had that match, and I say even more so than Zoe Stark. She's a powerhouse. She's always been billed as a powerhouse. Look at her finishing.
Oh, for
move.
sure. Yeah,
The
yeah.
presses and slams and I just don't think that they utilized that to her strength. Like it didn't. It was a solid match. I'm not gonna say that there was botches or anything involved with that, but I just feel like there were a lot more spots that were possible in this match that she could have pulled off with a person Io's size.
Yeah.
I get that the match.
It
is
might have been a
planned.
time issue. It might have been like one of those like they got their time shaved off right before they came out.
And that's possible, but like I got a grade based on what I see.
Sure. What do you give it?
I also said that there was going to be interference in this match, and there was.
But you didn't say it was going to be Kyrie.
Yeah, but I did say who interfered beforehand, which was Bailey.
Oh, yeah,
she did get involved.
Yeah, Bailey got involved.
So I mean,
But she ended up being okay. So yeah,
but a lot of people didn't see the Kyrie thing coming.
No.
But I was still, Bailey was still. It was one of those things. Remember, she showed up, and what did I tell you that Io was going to say? I don't need you. And
Yeah.
she's like, trust me, girl. Trust me.
Yeah.
And to her credit, she really did help her out because Io was in. That's the other thing that I didn't get about the finish of this match, because she really did help her out. Io was the one with an ego. She
Right.
was going to lose that match.
Yeah.
And then, even though it wasn't Bayley in the end that came with the final blow,
Yeah.
the final interference, she still needed someone's help. She actually needed two people's help.
And their
to-
other partner isn't even there. She's injured, right?
Yeah. So
what's her name? I forget.
that would have been Dakota Kai.
Dakota Kai. Yeah.
And see now you got, but now I see this. This is being teased as like the breakup, as I said, of Damage Control.
Yeah.
Because now you saw what happened with at the end of the match, the expression that Bayley had,
She felt surprised.
and
yeah.
also she felt a little disappointed because
Yeah.
here she is, Io saying that she doesn't need her help.
Yeah.
But she was always so quick to give props and embrace Kyrie for hers. So now I like this. It's also the build up to a new storyline.
Mm-hmm.
We're probably gonna have friction from Damage Control, which will probably break up,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course. Now Dakota Kai is actually, I think she's getting ready to be cleared to wrestle, so
Okay.
she'll be able to.
Maybe they're
come
building a
up with
tag
that.
match.
And then they'll have possibly something going on with Io Sky and Kairi Sane as a duo.
Survivor
Oh.
Series.
And who knows? You could probably have Team Japan with Asuka in there because remember, Kairi Sane is her old
Yes.
tag team part of the Kabuki.
Yes. Yes. Warriors, was it?
Kabuki Warriors.
Yes.
They were a great tag team.
I love
too.
that tag team.
So, like, there could be a faction in the work there. There's a lot of interesting possibilities with that. I like where the match leads. If you want to say the match did its job, yes, it did its job.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just don't think it was a phenomenal match in terms of performance.
Yes, they definitely, with a lot of these matches, they left you thinking about what's next, and that's exactly where you want these PLEs to lead to.
Kyrie's ring gear, though, looked really good, though.
Bro,
I'm glad they ditched the damn pirate.
yes,
They
They
yet
may-
Michael Cole had to say the pirate princess.
of course,
again.
right, but yeah,
It's like she's not even wearing that anymore.
we know, man, you hate Michael Cole. We get it. I'm just kidding.
No, that would be Bailey. But
No, but I want to ask you this: have you ever seen that finishing move by Kairi Sane? That was a sick ass move with the hair. It's like it was almost like Mortal Kombat esque style of finisher. Did you see it?
finish him.
Yeah, she did the deal where she spins and her hair was like very silky, and it like they created the illusion that it like sliced Bianca's neck or face, but it was a very interesting move. It was very video gamey.
I feel like that it's good for Kyrie because Kyrie's original finishing maneuver, although it is a homage to the Macho Man Randy Savage, she always does that, her version of the elbow.
Yeah,
drop.
yeah.
I feel like in
And
the
she
modern,
overextends on it too.
yeah, but I feel like in the modern era, you kind of need more than an elbow drop.
Sure.
It's more of like a setup to a finisher. This is my opinion. So seeing Kyrie bust something new out of repertoire.
So you don't think the
was-
5-knuckle shuffle is enough?
Oh, I don't know. Is the LA night enough?
That's not a finishing move though.
Yeah. Well, the 5-knuckle shuffle isn't either. It's a setup. The AA and the STF are his finishers.
No, the he does the whole. It's basically like the people's elbow, but his version.
Yeah, but he's never finished anybody with it. His finishers are
Yeah.
the AA and the.
It's his
STF.
false finisher.
Just like LA Knights is his false.
Yeah.
Just like the People's Elbow. No, he's actually finished people with the People's Elbow, which I find ridiculous. But
Yeah.
since The Rock is so entertaining in the
Yeah.
ring, I'll let it slide.
Right. Well, the super kick used to be a finisher and is no longer. Right. The super kick was Shawn Michaels' finisher. Now it's just
The
like.
super kick was a great finisher. It still can be a great finisher.
But it's bastardized. now.
But yeah, thanks to my favorite two people, the goddamn Young Bucks.
Yeah, but the
Bucks
Usos
have
do
ruined
it
the
too.
Super kick. No, they do it to death. They do it like it's the cheat code in a damn video game. Every move that they possibly do is a super kick.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they know how to do an arm drag takedown. It's just like, no arm drag takedown, super kick. It's like, should I put someone in a headlock? No, super kick. Like, should I jump off the top rope? Yeah, only if it's in a super kick motion.
Yeah.
Like, really, Young Bucks, go learn a wrestling move. Shut the fuck up with the damn super kicks, okay?
On that note, CM Punk, you're welcome on this show anytime to talk your piece about.
More than welcome.
Yes.
You'll be our honored guest.
Yes.
Please talk about the Bucks. Please talk about the Bucks.
Yeah.
I will be right here with you.
Counterfeit Bucks.
Just make sure you bring some of those Chicago delicacies with you.
Yes.
The cheese and the pizza and the damn Italian beef and the hot dogs. You name it. I want it from Chicago. Okay?
Hell
When
yeah.
you come here as a guest, please, we'll pay for the catering. Just make sure that you ship it over.
And speaking of Chicago, Pratik, he's going to be joining us on the Survivor Series. That's our next pay-per-view card that we're going to go over from WWE.
But yeah, getting back to the regular
Yeah.
point, Kairi Sane busting out a new move out of repertoire. I like
a
it.
heel move, but I love it.
I love it.
Yes,
Yeah.
me too.
Good
so,
touch.
So CBS gave this match an A. You give it a
C.
C. So you've given 2 matches a C now.
Hey, I'm a tough critic,
No, that's fine. That's fine.
but I'm honest.
Yeah, I think I
You don't gotta agree with me, but
Yeah,
if you disagree with me, make sure you let me know in the comments, and we can have a discussion.
match in itself, I give it a B. But I think the Kyrie angle on it pushed it up to a B plus for me.
It did what it was supposed to do storyline-wise. I feel like it did push it in the right direction.
And it
I'm
was
grading-
protected. It was protected.
I'm grading on the match performance itself, but if you want to go in that angle, yeah, I mean, it did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
From that aspect, I'm not mad at it.
I agree. All right. Next match. Cody Rhodes versus the Money in the Bank, whose briefcase is now in the hands of Sami Zayn at this point in the pay-per-view. Damian Priest. Initial thoughts. Give the grade first.
Okay. This is going to be controversial. This is the match, this so far at least, that I can think of. This is the match I will give an A to.
Okay.
I will give this match, an A. The only thing that prevents it from actually being an A plus for me, to be honest with you,
Is what?
was the stupidity of having all 3 members of the Judgment Day, or rather 2 and the junior member, and JD McDonough,
Yeah.
aka the what is he? Is he Scottish or Irish? I can't figure it out right now, but he's a freaking Chihuahua.
An Irish Chihuahua. That makes sense.
Either way, I don't see 3 people ever running away from
Jay.
with a chair.
Yeah.
If I'm 3 people and there's one with a chair, and I know this is WWE logic,
Yes.
I'm not running. I'm still trying to jump him.
I think that was a poorly wrapped up.
I like Jay coming out. That was good. I just didn't like how they finished it. 3 members should not all of a sudden be running away from the stadium and the ring just because of one man with a chair. I mean, the 3 of you could have literally split up while he chases one. The other one could have came out the other side of the ring and still interfered with something.
Yeah.
It's just, that being said, that was really me nitpicking. If I'm going to go with the match itself, the story it told, the way it transpired, the way the moves were performed, the spots, especially one of those Cody cutters, and how he paid the respect and protected Priest by not hitting 1, 2, but 3 crossroads after a cutter, mind you. Kept Priest strong. Their performance was great. No botches. Told the perfect story. Allows Damian Priest to remain strong while still giving Cody the push that WWE wants him to do, which, again, that's a separate issue. I'm not still sold on that. You know how I am with what we're about to talk about next. So I'll save it. But I will say, the match itself, that aside, A.
And I don't think A is that's great. I think that I don't know if it hurt either of them in this match. Both were
They were both protected.
They were both protected. They looked good. Also, a little insider on this match. It dawned on me after Michael Cole, your favorite, mentioned that Damian Priest's one of his finishers or moves is exactly the same as the Crossroads. It's just his version of it. He did it on the announcer's table, and which, by the way, the announcer's table did not give way.
I forget what he called his version of it.
Yeah.
But I will say this.
Isn't it? Hold on. Yeah.
This is a testament to how well Cody sells that move.
Yes.
Because Damian Priest, and this is not taking anything away from him, because
The Reckoning. Isn't it The Reckoning?
It's The Reckoning. Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. When Damian Priest performs The Reckoning, it's a solid move.
Yes.
When Cody Rhodes performs the Crossroads, it looks phenomenal.
I know.
The way he sells his move.
Yeah. Well, their size helps. His size helps that.
But his size does help it. It's true. But just the torque that he makes it look like.
Yeah.
This is why Cody is one of the better wrestlers
Yes.
in the world today.
Yes.
Just the little nuances like that into moves in his repertoire make him the wrestler that he is today. That being said, Damian Priest for the entire match, toe to toe, blow for blow, was right there with him. No botches.
Yeah.
Great match. But I digress. Let me let you.
I want to
continue.
just say this. Many people aren't talking about this, but this is always lurking in the background. Is my timeline prediction for the Damian Priest entrance into the WrestleMania championship angles. You have told me that you think Cody is probably going to get that title match versus Roman Reigns, a rematch anyway, at Mania.
Which, if it does happen, your prediction still has an opportunity to come true. So we
Especially,
may both be right.
especially as a result of this match.
Yeah.
I think
It builds more to it. It leaves the window open.
window open, because now they can go away. He's going to be chasing his briefcase from Sammy, getting that back, and then they'll have their program. Maybe that goes into Survivor Series, all that. But anyway, so we'll have another episode to talk about all that. But yeah,
Your grade, though. I don't think you give your grade on that.
my grade would probably be, I'll give it a B plus, just because the only reason, and then this is me being a little bit spoiled as a wrestling viewer for over 30 years. They do the triple with a lot of these finishers now, and I feel like it took away from the Eddie Guerrero original, the Three Amigos. I feel like he made it so favorable to see that, and it worked perfectly for Eddie. But then when Kurt did his version, and then when
but those were not finishers. I get where you're going with this.
Yeah.
You're entitled to your opinion, and I'm not debating it. But those were not finishers.
but that's more of a reason
But-
that's what I'm saying.
But this is why Cody's a genius at it. And I'll give you a different perspective on it. Because Cody doesn't always use the three.
I know he
Cody
uses it on
only uses
Brock,
the
and he used it
three.
on Damien.
Cody only uses the three when he's up against a formidable opponent that he respects. Sometimes he doesn't use even the three. There are times where he uses the two. The three is for opponents that he knows he has to put away. So it's not like a Young Bucks situation.
Didn't he do it
where
on
it's
Roman?
willy-nilly.
He did it on Roman at Mania. He did it on Brock.
But I don't think he did three straight on Roman Reigns. I think he went for the third and he got.
And then there was the interference.
Yes. So they, in essence, they still saved the 3-4. They protected the three.
I'm just saying the trio of any of these moves, right? Kurt would do it with the suplex.
did it as
Benoit
well.
with it as well. Benoit, I understand. That was his best friend.
Well,
So-
actually, Benoit did it before Kurt. He was
yeah,
in
right.
WCW.
And then Kurt did it, and then
And Benoit was acceptable too because he and Eddie were best friends, so they were.
and then there were a bunch of wrestlers who actually just did the Three Amigos, like Rey Mysterio himself.
See, those kind of like I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing because I could say at the time Benoit was his best friend, but like, you know, when you have Rey Mysterio, and don't get me wrong, I know they were close friends too, and you have Chavo doing it.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, Chavo is also related
That's his nephew,
to him.
yeah.
But, like, that being said, it's like they were all doing it during the same era.
Yeah. They're doing it now 20 years later, which is, I'm like, Dominic is doing it. That's where I'm like, okay, stop. Dominic is not.
That was not your father, okay? I know you wish it was, Dominic, but it was not your father.
But
Go get a haircut,
but
okay? Go get a haircut. Go let mommy peg you, And then afterwards, we could talk about how you need to learn how to wrestle a little bit more before you can actually go to toe with some of the top stars.
Exactly. If you're going to use that, you better be a vet.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But even then, I feel like it's being overdone. Anyway, I gave it a B+. The match earned a B+ for me. And
that's fair enough. And you pretty much are on point, I guess, with CBS. I give it a higher grade than CBS.
Yes. Yeah, but not a higher grade than PBS. So
that's TBA. TBA
yeah, sorry, I forget Sheik is not here right now. By the way, subscribe to TBA Podcast as well.
Now the main event. I got a lot to say about this.
Hold on, I have something. I do too, but I just have one thing to say. The ring announcer in the middle of the ring, Saxton. I kind of smirked at that. I thought that's not. He should.
Byron Saxton should have never been announcing that match.
Why is he doing that?
I think the only reason he was because it was in Saudi Arabia, and not because he's worthy to be in Saudi Arabia. I'm saying because there were probably better announcers that opted not to go.
But
to Saudi Arabia.
Irwin was maybe because Ricochet wasn't on the card, so she didn't end up coming either.
I also think that there was an issue. There was a lot of wrestlers that opted not to go to Saudi Arabia.
Did they?
There always is.
Oh,
there's I mean, it was a miracle that Sammy was there, because Sammy normally does not go. If you notice,
yeah, but
Sammy normally does not
Sammy
go.
went to the last one, and he had the whole speech in Arabic, or he had the whole promo.
You know how long it took him to go there, though. And they pressure these wrestlers a lot of times to go.
KO wasn't there.
Yeah. So here's the thing. All I'm saying, I'm not going to get into the political stuff too much. All I'm saying is Byron Saxton, as much as I thought there could have been a better announcer, it probably was the only high-profile person that opted to go on the trip.
Byron Saxton just gives me...
I've never seen him announce a match.
But no, Byron Saxton is like the current day coach. He's a goofball. Like, he's just like the...
Well, even if he wasn't a goofball, like, he doesn't have an announcer's voice.
He doesn't have an announcer's voice. I don't feel the mystique of the match when he's in there.
But I bet you a lot of it did have to do, now that I'm thinking about it, because some of the WWE's best announcers are female.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. Irvin is usually the one in the ring that's...
Yeah. And it was Saudi Arabia. Maybe she didn't want to go to Saudi Arabia and have to adhere to their laws. There are women that stand against that.
That's right. That's right.
So, again.
And good for her.
Yeah. If that's the case, good for her. I'm not picking on her. Yeah. I'm saying that is probably a reason why Byron Saxton was in the position that he was in.
I just think there was they had enough other guys.
Maybe.
Michael could have done it.
Maybe, but we don't know.
Yeah.
But we don't know. So I'm going to give it... It was weird to me. I agree.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to give it a pass because of the situation.
All right. Fair enough.
Because I don't think in any other circumstances at any of their other events, Byron Saxton is in that position. So they had to have thought there was no other option.
Okay. I'm going to give my grade first for this, if that's cool.
I will say before you give your grade that I loved the pop that LA Knight got.
Yeah. Roman
Reigns' entrance was great too, but LA Knight got the greatest pop from the Saudi Arabia audience, which, like, I wasn't surprised, but it was more than I expected.
Yeah.
And Saudi Arabia definitely let everybody know who the biggest show in town is, with everybody saying
LA Knight. Yeah. I agree with that. He probably got the pop of the night if we're really looking at it for what it is. With all that said, with the match up until the very predictable interferences, I thought the match was going really well, and then it just became like a rerun of WrestleMania essentially. Just input LA Knight instead of Cody, and to me, that kind of ruined the match for me. And this is actually, now you're probably going to think, wow, but I'm giving my lowest grade of all the matches so far would be for this one, and I give this match a C. I think this match got a C, and I only say that not because of what Roman and LA did when it was just them two in the match, but because it was very, very boring with its predictability. That's all. And because of that, it goes back to our bigger discussion about Roman has, surpassed his time and he needs to drop the title, which of course they didn't. Roman kept the title with the same shitty tactics that has been being used all the other big pay-per-view matches that he's implemented. The only difference this time was Jay wasn't a part of it. Jimmy was. So that's it. I give it a C.
You know what? I'm not even going to disagree with you. I'm going to give it a C.
Oh, I thought you liked this match.
I'm going to give it a C.
Okay. Now I'm curious why you give it a C.
Okay. For the enjoyment factor, just watching as a fan, up until the interferences, like you said, it was a great watch. It was enjoyable. Psychologically, both told a story. I'll give it that.
Even the spots were similar, which I was kind of over.
But here's the thing, and I mentioned this before we went into this match, going into Crown Jewel and watching this. The only way, and I didn't say that I was going to like it. I was going to hate it. And as a matter of fact, I said I would. But the only way that LA Knight maintains his buzz and stays protected, if they're not going to let him win the title, which they didn't, was if he went into that event and they gave him the screw job of screw jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Because for him to get a clean finish, for Roman to have beat him clean, would have diminished that buzz immediately.
Yeah.
It would have proved exactly what the promo said, that he was a flash in the pan, and we don't want to leave him in that position. So they only had two options going into that point. It was to screw him over really bad. Not even just a standard. This was Cody level, like you said. Or he would have had to have, in some slim to none chance, with the WWE pulling the trigger, win the match.
Mm-hmm. Then you said this.
Being said,
you said this before the pay-per-view.
Yes, that's what.
Yeah.
And that being said, we knew he wasn't going to win the match, because one thing that you can always expect the WWE to do 9 times out of 10 is play it safe. Especially if they think they have a backup plan in the cards, which they've been teasing with Cody Rhodes. Would I have loved LA Knight to win this match? Absolutely. I think since WrestleMania, they missed their opportunity. And they had it again. To be honest with you, I don't know if it would have done as well as WrestleMania, but I think that if Jay would have won, he still would have got that pop. But they didn't let that happen either. So you still have another good amount of months going in to WrestleMania. There are at least 2 major pay-per-views left, 2 of the big 4.
Royal Rumble, Survivor Series.
Yes. And there's also a couple in between. And might I add that they're right now, for some reason, they're promoting War Games alongside Survivor Series.
Yes. NXT is going to be in that too.
So that's going to be a very interesting event to watch, possibly with some crossover appearances.
They've done that before too.
And I wasn't mad at it.
Yeah, I know.
It was one of the ways they originally introduced Rhea Ripley. So it's not necessarily a bad thing.
So C grade for the reasons you just mentioned.
For the reasons I'm about to mention. The C grade goes into the fact that not only was it a typical, expected, predictable screw job finish, it was also the fact that they didn't even have anybody interfere on LA Knight's behalf. Which I find it really hard to believe, out of all the people that got beef with Roman on the roster, someone didn't try to come in and interfere on LA Knight's behalf. Now, the end result would have been the same, but they could have been a little bit more creative with the way that they approached it. But no, it was the same thing. How many times have we seen, just in the last couple of weeks, in other people's matches, Jimmy Uso doing the exact same thing with the hood on his head, mind you. We all know who you are right now, so why the fuck you wearing the hood?
Yeah, it's like the...
Why are you doing that? It's like the surprise is gone. It's not like you're this weird masked man that popped up all of a sudden. Like, we know it's you.
Yeah.
We know it's you. And
I think,
then
yeah.
the other part of it, and you go into the finish, Roman spears him into the barricade,
Yeah.
right?
Predictable. I knew that was
Which
coming.
I did like the fact that LA Knight was given the spot to take out Jimmy. That was okay.
Yeah.
But then they ruin it because they did the barricade spot. That barricade spot to me is not enough because you basically spent another 10 seconds dragging the man into the ring. The man literally took a flush spear from you, clean, and kicked out. You give the man time to recover while you're bringing him into the ring.
Yep.
And then he doesn't kick out.
Yeah.
And he doesn't kick out. Like, that didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
On top of the predictability of the finish. So, it's not necessarily because it was the finish that I expected it. It's because they didn't get more creative with the way that the finish was done. You could have screwed him, yes. But there could have been a way that you screwed him where I would have gave you a higher grade than a C.
The only challenge I make about the barricade finish is that LA Knight obviously is a lot smaller than other big wrestlers that have taken that spot from Reigns or Goldberg or Brock, right? And I think this may have been where the creative's thinking was for LA Knight not to kick out.
Maybe. And I can see that, but my argument to that is that literally, like, while you're dragging the man to the ring, you're giving him recovery time.
Yeah, I know.
So
if that was a Brock Lesnar, would he have kicked out?
Oh, for sure. Brock
Okay.
Lesnar for sure would have. I think Brock Lesnar has kicked out of that. But then again,
I'm saying that same.
Brock Lesnar is a very, very, very protected wrestler.
Yeah.
So, like, that wouldn't even have been a question. But I would have said somebody like Cody would have kicked out.
Well, that's the thing. And my whole problem with that spot is that they don't.
Look at what Cody kicked out of at WrestleMania.
Right. But I'm saying you don't use that spot for the middleweight wrestlers. Don't use that for like the 200 and like from the 190 to 220 pound range wrestlers. Use that spot for the heavyweights, like, you know, like the Brocks and the
But you know what the problem is? I think that
even Damian Priest.
But you know what the problem is? And here's this part where I'll get on creative side to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think the reason why that he ate that pin after the barricade, after that recovery time and everything, is, and I'll say this too, Roman doesn't suck as a wrestler, but he's not great as a wrestler. And his two finishing maneuvers are very limited. Both of them involve running at somebody and connecting.
Mm-hmm.
Like Roman, and this is something I should probably critique about his whole run in general. Somewhere during this 4-year run, Roman should have learned a new finisher. Because nowadays it's not just enough to have one if you're a superstar. I mean, look at Seth Rollins. Look at different examples. Look at the Undertaker. Undertaker evolved over time.
Seth Rollins and even Kevin Owens, I will argue that they didn't come up with new finishers. They just brought back old finishers. That's what they did with the pedigree and the stunner. So that's my only challenge to that. But I don't disagree with you that Roman needs another finisher.
But it's introduced by creative as if they were new. Because you know how WWE creative works. You're supposed to forget about someone's past. What you do in a different organization doesn't matter. You and I know better, and so do the smart fans, but you get their psychology.
I guess to the younger audience,
yes.
Yeah.
And
to the Gen Z audience, they don't know the stunner was a thing, or they don't know the pedigree was a Triple H.
Yeah, but no, but before Rollins had the pedigree, he had a third finisher, and every once in a while he does break it out. I keep forgetting what it was. He had a finisher.
He had the curb stomp. He had the something arrow.
The Falcon Arrow.
The Falcon Arrow.
Which he still does now. He connects it with his...
and he has the buckle bomb.
The buckle bomb is like his setup, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but the Falcon Arrow, now he still uses it. He just uses it as a connector to his superplex, which is a good add. At
Yeah.
least you're being creative on how you still incorporate it. If it's not a finisher, it's not gone for. But even look at somebody like CM Punk.
He also has the man as the
Listen.
finisher.
That's a different story. The man shows him who the man is. But
What about
yeah,
Punk?
but even Punk. Punk has the Pepsi plunge, which
Yeah.
he rarely does.
Yeah.
It's protected, but
Yeah.
remember he beat Joe with that
Yep.
because
Yep.
he has the GTS,
Yep.
and then he has the Anaconda Vice.
Mm-hmm.
Like Roman, you've been champion for 4 years. You're the top star in the company.
Yeah.
You should have another finisher. Like like for someone to have, it would have prevented him from having so many cheat wins, and made him look stronger. If somewhere during his run he would have developed a third
Right.
finisher.
Right.
Is all I'm saying. Some people still use two. I mean, Cena still has the 5 moves of doom.
It depends on the move too, man. It depends
But
on.
even Cena had to learn something. Because remember, he had only the FU,
Yeah.
now the AA. He went years beyond that. And people realized, oh shit, this is getting boring and we can't have different stipulations of matches with it because he can't use it. So they had to give him the STFU, which is the STF now, which is really what the move's called anyway. So I'm
Shut
not
the
mad
fuck.
at it.
Shut the
But
fuck. Yeah.
bottom line, Roman's matches would still be a little bit more entertaining somewhere in the run if he would have had that in the pocket like third move. Like the Undertaker has the Last Ride, the Tombstone, the Choke Slam,
The rope
because
walk.
the chokes.
The-
Well, that's a setup. The Choke Slam has been used as a finisher, but not all the time.
Yeah.
It just depends on the match and the size of the opponent. But then he also has the Hell's Gate, which he started pulling out towards the end of his career.
Wasn't that the triangle choke?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's called the Hell's Gate.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like,
Austin
Or-
only had one.
or if you have one,
He had the Luthez, but that
or
was
if you have one, be really good at that
exactly.
one.
Exactly.
Pull it off for see. Shawn Michaels had the super kick, right? Which wasn't his original finisher, by the way. You know, when he became Shawn Michaels, the sexy boy, it was actually a suplex. He added that because it wasn't exciting enough. Now, yes, you can argue that the super kick is, overused today, and I wouldn't disagree with you.
If Sean had a match today, like if he
But
came
he
back,
has pulled that super kick out, like, in unpredictable situations. Like, there's not just your
he
regular
only does it
setup.
once too. He doesn't do it 7 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's protected.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, or like you had a person like DDP who could literally pull off the diamond cutter in any angle you
Or-
could possibly.
or
so
RKO.
it kept it
Yeah.
surprising. See, Randy didn't do that in the beginning, though.
No.
Randy eventually learned that he had to pull off some more exciting looking
The punt.
RKOs.
He also had the punt.
Yes,
But
until they banned it.
yeah. Well, they banned the curb stomp too for a minute, and then they brought it back. And they brought the punt back too. But here's what I want to.
yeah.
But what I want to say is this: but DDT by Jake the Snake. That was such an that was his finishing move, and then that became the bastardized. The DDT became everyone's like setup. So.
But they did protect it. The DDT wasn't a finisher for most people.
That's-
and then even when they did use it as a finisher, the great wrestlers added their own touch to it because the DDT
Like
that
Moxley.
Moxley's
He does it with the two
paradigm
hands.
shift.
Yeah.
His is a double arm DDT.
Right.
Which is similar to what Cactus Jack did.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's kind of like an homage to Cactus Jack.
Yeah.
But
Oh, by the way, Logan Paul, real quick, he paid homage to Ultimate Warrior
Yeah.
in the middle of his match. I thought that was cool.
But like for example, when you look at Raven do the DDT, the even flow, the way he executes is different from Jake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's always variation.
Yeah, there's different colors on it,
Even
yeah.
the way that Cody did his move versus the way that Damian Priest was
Yeah.
pulling off the
Yeah.
move, it's still exciting. It looks different. I'm just saying, if Roman could have done well to learn a third move, that sets you up for different possible finishes to a match.
So then let's segue into this. So overall, what do we say? Your overall grade for the pay-per-view is?
Overall grade for the pay-per-view was, if you average out everything it did, it's probably a B.
B. Yeah, I would say the same. I would say it's about a B. I think that Kairi Sane.
I mean, I gave 2 matches a C.
Right. And I gave a match an A. And you gave a match an A. Kairi Sane's return was one of the better pops, I thought, and I thought it deserved it. And the way she came back was solid. With that said, as we wrap up this episode,
With that said, before you wrap up the episode, I'll just say this: they really need to cut these pay-per-view endings short if Roman is headlining, because the long drawn out, like 6 minutes worth of TV time they give him at the end of a match, it's too much. I end up shutting off the TV. Not because he won, but because who wants to watch, if you're not giving like a shoot promo or something, who wants to watch Roman Reigns do this for like 6 minutes at the end of a...
yeah.
Go in the back and go play with Dominic Mysterio, okay?
Okay. Dami is already getting played with by Mommy.
Yeah, Domi's getting dominated by Mommy.
Yeah, Dominatrix. His sister is very pretty. Anyway,
Yes, thankfully that Mommy's not pegging her. I mean, maybe I had to give her a telephone
because
call.
her mom.
Sorry, my bad.
Because
Ray, I respect you.
Because her mom would then get involved, and I would.
I actually respect you, Ray. So like, yeah, forget I said that. But your son's a little bitch. Oh, kayfabe aside, really.
Oh
let's
my
wrap
god!
This up.
Yeah.
We've had enough laughs.
Yeah, dude, that's hilarious. I think okay. So let's just do a quick prediction into Survivor Series. What's gonna be Is there any? So there was only one title that changed hands, right? It was
Yes.
It was Logan. So Logan's the U.S. champ. Is he coming out of the next major PLE as the champion, or is he losing it?
I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you.
And is it going to be with just Ray, or is it going to be a bigger?
I honestly can't tell you because it's going to depend on his opponent.
Yeah.
What type of match he's involved in, because it may not even be a singles match.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
And
Survivor Series is a weird pay-per-view.
And also, what kind of contract he signed and if they want to use him as a champion long term.
Yeah.
So
is he hitting house shows or is he only hitting TV? That's the other
No,
thing.
he's only hitting TV.
Okay.
I could only see him hitting TV because that man has different business ventures that he's involved in outside of WWE,
Right.
including
His drink too.
his drinks.
Yeah.
He may. I don't know. We don't know what kind of contracts he's signed. Maybe training for another fight.
He has a boxing. Yeah, he has his boxing career simultaneously.
We'll see.
We'll see. Okay. Is Roman fighting for the title, or is he defending his title at Survivor Series, or is he involved in the Survivor Series traditional match?
If they bring the traditional matches back, then I believe that he's going to be involved in one. Somehow the Judgment Day, not Judgment Day, sorry, the Bloodline. The Bloodline is probably going to put together a team if they do have a match. And I could see team opposing them, like from both sides. Like imagine a team that has Cena, LA Knight, KO.
Cody.
Well, I mean, Cody's possible too. I was just throwing KO's name out there.
Yeah.
But
Sammy?
It could be Cody or Sammy, but they usually don't have more than 5. So, well, let's just say, is KO involved in the program right now?
Well, he wasn't even on this page.
Oh, yeah. No, see, it would probably be KO. Sammy probably wouldn't get involved in that.
So here's what I'm thinking.
If they did that, because if they did it from that angle, Sammy would probably be in probably a traditional Survivor Series matchup, but he'd probably be in one directly facing the Judgment Day, given the what just happened at this pay-per-view.
Yeah. Here's what I'm thinking. Survivor Series, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Out of the big 4 or 5
It's your least favorite.
It's my least favorite. Because it actually forces the WWE to pause all their storyline arcs. Because it's such a weird...
it doesn't have to. And you can see from this pay-per-view how it doesn't have to. There's a lot.
But they do it. They focus so much on the traditional matches and the War Games angle now that's going to get added. Which
the War Games angle is NXT,
but
I'm not mad at those War Games.
No,
matches.
I'm not mad at it. They're great matches.
The NXT War Game matches
it's like Bloods and Guts.
have been pretty damn good.
No, they are. They're great matches. I'm just saying for these for the singles feuds, right? It pauses that to a degree because they need big names in these matches, so they pull the ones that are otherwise in a full angle.
Well, they need that. They need that. And I'm not. Okay.
What I'm telling you is,
I know why it's your least favorite. There's a legit reason why, but I'll tell you why they need it. They need it because, like I said, from SummerSlam, you have 6 months until you get to WrestleMania.
yeah,
Sometimes
WrestleMania is in 4 months now. So,
sometimes or 4 months. I mean, this month might as well halfway be over. It's in the beginning of.
Survivor Series is at the end of November.
It's in the and WrestleMania is in the beginning of April,
Right.
or last week of March, depending. They've switched it now, so
Yeah.
it's like this month's like halfway over, so
Yeah.
you have like 4.5 months. That's the point. Like sometimes, and again, Survivor Series is not all traditional matchups. Usually, they have like 2 of those in a show. They do have space for singles matches for those that they choose to, but sometimes they need that because it helps. Not only do some of these stories get helped further, it drags them out longer. Because imagine if you had to have a program and your long-term plan is to have right now, I think their long-term plan is to have Cody in a program eventually with Roman at WrestleMania. What are you going to do for the next 4.5 months? He doesn't have that many credible opponents left. They need a way to space it out to where they can continue the story a bit without making it, drawn out or boring or end too soon. Sometimes they need Survivor Series. That being said, I understand
yeah.
your perspective and why it's your least favorite.
One thing we didn't talk about from Crown Jewels that happened was Miss TV.
Yes, that's right.
Miss TV happened, and I was ignorant about the
comedian?
the celebrity comedian that they brought on.
That kind of shocks me because you can forgive me for my ignorance. I'm like, wow, you're telling me that you didn't know about somebody in the comedy world?
I know, I didn't, but
I mean, it happens.
It happens,
There are
yeah.
a few rappers in the hip hop world that I'm not,
right.
the biggest, I don't have the greatest knowledge on.
I mean, it does happen. I know him now, but what I was saying is this: what is the deal with that? That was kind of just like a one-off. I mean, obviously they were giving him a shine.
No, I think that's going to lead up to a program.
So he's going to wrestle?
No, not well. Maybe they may bring him back at WrestleMania at some point. That could have just been a one-off for the Saudi fans.
Yeah,
But no, but see, it doesn't. Okay, let me phrase it like this. His appearance might be a one-off for the Saudi fans,
Yeah.
because they needed someone to give them a big pop. Somebody, remember, they let go of people like Mansoor.
yeah, right. Mansoor is gone. Mansoor.
I told you, Mansoor only served one purpose there. They didn't do anything with him. It was just to bring them to Saudi Arabia every year.
Yeah.
I don't even think that he's appearing in any other wrestling organizations. I think literally that was his purpose, to get a few pops every time they came into town.
Right.
That being said,
Yeah, I just think
I think his appearance wasn't a one-off.
I think so too.
But the program it sets up, I think it's going to set up a program between Miz and Grayson Waller. Because
Miz-
remember, the Miz prior to this
I just don't
was
care
a
about
fan
that.
about Austin Theory.
Yeah, I know.
And Grayson Waller, and now that listen.
So is Miz is going to be the baby face in this? I think it
Yes,
seems
yes,
like it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
He has. They have no other option. These
Yeah.
guys are total heels.
yeah.
But here's the thing, and I am with you on this. I'm not saying that it is a great feud. It's not one that I'm anticipating or even care about. But I understand the logic, because for the longest time I've told you that people like Austin Theory, and to a certain extent, even though I think he does a better job than Austin Theory in terms of his mic work and everything, Grayson Waller, these are guys that WWE is trying to push as the next generation, but they haven't had that it with them, and they haven't had somebody yet even though they've tried.
Yeah.
I think it's like their last-ditch effort with guys like this to try and put them in a program that would elevate their status. In Austin Theory's case, I'm not sure what else you could do with him because he's already had these chances.
Yeah.
But Grayson Waller hasn't. For I think this is a similar situation to what we discussed with Austin Theory.
Yeah.
Where they're trying to put him in a program with someone who's a proven talker, a proven worker. Miz is one of the safest workers in the
for sure.
company, by the way. It's well known, and that's documented as a fact.
Yep.
He's also a guy like, hey, look at what he did for LA, helped do for LA Knight. I told you about that as well. So, like, he can put people over. I think what they're trying to do, since, again, Miz is kind of winding down towards the end of his career, they need a new Miz-type figure.
That's it.
Which is literally what Grayson Waller is being marketed as in the company. So I feel like this is their attempt to maybe see an experiment how a transition of the guard would be. Am I excited for the feud? No. I'm probably not going to sit there and break out.
It'll be in the kickoff show of whatever.
I've got to watch it because you and I are doing a podcast. But I'll be honest, this is one of those where I'm just going to probably have a conversation with you in between, break out some popcorn, and and not be. Oh no, I can't say that. I have a podcast. I got to be fully focused, but. Grayson Waller, to that I say you better put on a great match if that happens. Because I know The Miz is always capable of it, but you, Grayson Waller, you better put on a good match or I'll send you around in a walkabout. You hear me, mate?
Yeah.
I'll stick a didgeridoo up your ass if you don't do a proper job.
There's your didgeridoo.
I'll turn you into my Sheila.
Yes, we are pandering to our Australian fans.
No, I think the Australian fans would really hate me for that. It's like one of those things where you go to Australia and they don't say shrimp on the Barbie because they use the word prawn. You going ahead and telling them shrimp on the Barbie is like insulting. Also telling them, mind you, go to Australia and asking them if they drink Foster's. Don't do that.
Why?
That's like the Bud Light of their beer, if not less. No one drinks Foster's.
Yeah.
It's like Foster's, Australian for beer.
Oh my God, that commercial! I remember that.
Or you might as well say Grayson Waller, Australian for champion.
Oh man! All right, so here's where I think the feud is gonna go for LA Knight. I think where they're gonna go, at least temporarily. You're gonna get a feud with Jimmy and LA, so they're gonna do their thing. It'll give enough time for Survivor Series to come and go, and then they're gonna go into their next big PLE, which will be Royal Rumble. And I know there is another one in December. I just can't remember what it is. And then there is the January, which is Royal Rumble. But here's where I think they're going to go. I think there's going to be at some point a Cody LA Knight feud that's going to happen.
And this has always been a possibility that we've never explored. Triple threat.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Don't get me wrong. I think that if Roman's going to lose at WrestleMania, it should be to one person to give that guy the definitive rub and win. And not take away saying that somebody else was involved. I think that person should deserve all the shine, no matter if it's LA Knight or if it's Cody Rhodes.
You're talking about Mania, right?
Yeah. So I'm not.
Well, listen.
If that happens, I don't think that it would be what my preferred thing. But I'm just saying it's a possibility because you're looking into a feud, and you're introducing that feud. We got a lot of things coming up. We got the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
The Royal Rumble, normally someone wins a shot.
Yeah. Elimination Chamber in Australia.
Change. And here's a kicker. I don't think I've ever seen the WWE do this. If you're watching WWE, take this in consideration. What if, and I know it's something that you guys are not a fan of because you guys like to play it safe, but there are ways around it. What if the winner of the Royal Rumble and the winner of the Elimination Chamber went after the same champion?
That's true. That's true.
And then you got Mr. Money in the Bank coming in there too.
There's 3 ways to, yeah.
Like you would add all those stuff, but I think for this WrestleMania, I don't think that would happen simply because.
But why not? Because it's the big one. It's big. It's the big 4-0.
Because I feel that's exactly why. I feel like if I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I'm saying the person that beats Roman is probably going to be the next person they push into the future. Regardless of how long he has the title, it's going to be the guy that gets the big rub for the next coming year. I think that the person that they put into that slot in WrestleMania, they want to give him the definitive win, not a way out because someone helped them
gotta
or
be
like
clean.
this. It's got to be clean.
Well, if you're right about if your prediction goes about the triple threat,
But I do feel like it's a good idea for the future.
It is, and I agree with you.
Never been done.
That's 100%. It holds weight. If at 40 they do a triple threat, it goes right in line with what they did at 30, a triple threat, and then what they did at 20, which they don't want to talk about, with the Chris Benoit.
That was also a triple threat.
That was also a triple threat. I don't remember what they did at 10, but I don't think it was a triple threat. But anyway, starting with 20, they started this idea of a main event with triple threat. What's crazy to me, and then we can shut this down.
Ooh, WWE Conspiracies, another episode.
Yeah, another episode. We got a lot of great things coming on this channel, by the way. So just keep in touch. Keep subscribing to Legend of Wrestling podcast. And it is underneath. It is on the same overall big umbrella channel, Fumble Podcast. And I know Fumble Podcast has been on hiatus for a big minute, and there's good reason for that because we're going to switch scenes, as we mentioned earlier. We're going to get a studio. It's in the preliminary stages right now.
In the works.
It's in the works. It hasn't even been put in the oven yet to see what comes out, but it's happening. You better bet your bottom dollar on that.
Yeah,
dummy. So, I'm not against the triple threat. Here's one thing we didn't talk about. In that promo on SmackDown, before everything we just discussed with Crown Jewel, Roman called LA Knight a redneck version of his cousin. He called him that. And we all know who he's talking about. He called LA Knight the redneck version of his cousin, which obviously he's talking about The Rock. So, is that a teaser? Or there's no promo mistakes that big that happen on accident. I think that
I still don't think that The Rock is going to be introduced in the WrestleMania. I think The Rock is pretty much.
What if he's just part of the bloodline?
I don't even think he's going to be a part of the bloodline. To be honest with you, I don't think he's going to. I think that if here's my.
But
theory.
so close to that, and all the rumors to tease that.
I'm going to get to that. I think that he's not going to be involved with the bloodline. I don't even think he's going to be involved in a match. Involved like in a match, as a competitor. That being said, that doesn't. Because he has a lot of commitments. A lot of the films that he's involved in have insurance policies about him getting hurt.
Right.
That's why he's
But there
been
was
a
this,
lot of out of the matches.
But the strike, the actors, it's done now. I know,
now,
but
so he may have been filming. He may have to resume. But here's the kicker. That doesn't mean The Rock can't be the special guest referee at WrestleMania.
There we go. I would hate that though. That would be such a letdown to bring that high caliber of a wrestler, entertainer, with the millions and millions.
It doesn't mean. See, that's the thing though. Short term, you might look at it that way because of what he may be able to do now. But realistically, nobody really expects The Rock to fight Roman for the championship because we know that The Rock will not be there long term. It would be a one-off and it would be pointless. It does nothing for the championship. But say Roman loses at WrestleMania due to
A Rock interference.
Not necessarily Rock interference, but maybe, who knows? I don't know how the match would go. Maybe he just mad at him because he did the 3 count and went against the bloodline. Now you set up a real Roman Rock program after Roman loses his title, keeping Roman in a relevant program. because they've said when Roman is done with this championship run, he wants to take a break from wrestling for a while. But there's no reason why you can't have a one-off after you lose the title. The Rock takes you out and you disappear for a while in shame.
I like that. That has legs. Comment. Let us know what your thoughts are on Dwayne The Rock Jabroni Johnson. Let us know if you think you agree with Webb on that. Let us know what your thoughts were on Crown Jewel. I think I gave it a B. You also gave it a B. So we, as an entirety.
Thoughts?
Final thoughts. I think that Raw is going to be interesting. We're going to see where all of these, proposals or teasers for after Crown Jewel will lead to. I'm really interested in the Kairi Sane angle, and I am hoping that it doesn't disappoint. I that's all I can say about that right now. I think I want her to be the way she came back and the way she was standing her ground. It brought a new level of interest for me in her character, and I'm a Kairi Sane fan. I couldn't tell you that on her first run in WWE. I can say that now for fact. So I am all about a heel international star. I said it for Shinsuke too, but they screwed that up. So if Kairi can do this and stick to it, I think it's going to become a very interesting angle.
Well, I think they mentioned, I don't know this for a fact, but they mentioned that Kairi does speak a little better English than
she does.
Shinsuke.
And
that she is capable of a promo. But she's also...
But she can do both, which is great.
Right now.
Yeah.
Io can do it. So they can both support each other.
Yes.
Here's my final thoughts as well on this. I'm really looking forward to the possibility of a female Japanese stable. It would throw in Asuka in there and have them dominate.
And why does it? I'll up that. Well, not just a female Japanese faction, a Japanese faction, and Shinsuke joins them too.
You know what would be really interesting because if you do Shinsuke, he's the only male, which I mean,
Takasawa.
That's oddly enough, you mentioned that they're supposed to have a match on one day.
Yeah.
What if Shinsuke beat the crap out of Kazawa? And they actually beat some sense into him instead of joining Alpha Academy. They did a whole Team Japan. But again, that would be cool. But realistically, if they even just pull off the three of them. Like a female Japanese stable.
Well, it'll make sense for Survivor Series.
The only thing that I hope they don't do if they go that route, please don't turn them into Kai and Tai and make them choppy PPs.
Yeah. You don't want it to be comical.
Yeah, I want it to be serious.
Yes.
But
you don't want it to Tajiri.
I also don't want them to scare off Val Venus. Hello, ladies. You choppy, you pee.
God,
I bet you he still has nightmares of that angle.
My God, Val Venus. Also, welcome to this podcast. You're more than welcome to come join us. Just please wear clothes and not just a towel. On that note, let's see where the wrestling never-ending. I guess we used to call it boys soap opera. It's no longer a boys soap opera. There are many women that are into pro wrestling, and it's just
like a soap opera. There are many attractive women in pro wrestling.
That's right.
That being said, Legend of Wrestling podcast. For 40.
There you go.
Legend of Wrestling podcast. Like, comment, subscribe. It's been real. Pedge the Maniac. Weapon X.
We out. See you, dummy.
You're the man. Watch your ass. I'm the master. Break your back.